Cynthia's in. Cynthia, I was worried about you. Are you okay? Everything good?
Oh yeah. I have a friend who's going through some treatments, so I'm trying to head up there,
Oh
and
no.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm very glad to be here though.
Where are you right now? You're not in LA.
I'm actually at the Burbank Airport in LA, so
Oh,
for a few more
really?
minutes I'm in LA. Yeah.
You're
Oh
flying
yeah.
to, but you're flying to a cold climate because you have a coat on.
I am. Yes, it's actually kind
Okay.
of chilly here. I know you lose once you get out of the
Kind of.
Midwest, you really lose your hardiness. So now I'm a big punk, and it's 50 degrees, and I'm like, it's freezing. What's going on?
That
We can
happened to
show
me.
you the 3 feet of blowing snow outside if you
Yeah,
would like.
it's 14 here. We got a lot of snow. So, hey, listen, thank you for making
Listen.
time for us, especially when I know you got something that you're dealing with, and we're sorry about that. I want to just start right in. First of all, I want to give you congratulations. Before the season started, your Super Bowl pick was Philly to beat Kansas City. So, we all make these ridiculous picks and we never get them
Wow.
right, but you did. So, congratulations to you. And I know you use a lot of analytics and all the NFL discussions that you bring to the public. We really want to know from you what the Browns should do at number 2. I know you don't pontificate and try to guess, but what should they do based on the analytics?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for wins fast, I think right now the best things to possibly do would be the quarterback position. However, depending on how things shake out with free agency, which is a very important piece of the puzzle, if someone leaves that happens to be a really good pass rusher, perhaps you have to look at edge. Obviously, top 5 positions, you have to do them in order. So quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, your corner, and your wide receiver, and you can flip-flop 2 and 3 and flip-flop 4 and 5. That's where you have to focus. So, there's some of those are already ticked off, but there's a few here who, potentially Abdul Carter for me is probably, the second best player overall in this entire draft. So being able to get him even to complement that other pass rusher that, is really epic would be helpful. And if that pass rusher isn't there, he would be a nice way to start building that defensive front.
Cynthia, I see you on your board. You have Travis Hunter as the number 1 player overall. When you talk about Travis Hunter, it seems to be a lot of people are torn over whether he's a better corner, whether he's a better receiver, and just how will people use him in the league. From your understanding and you looking at the numbers, what do you think he'll be best at, or what do you think he is best at?
I actually really like him as a wide receiver. I understand that that's maybe not the most, most people say defense and corner, and of course he forecasts to be epic as that as well. But sometimes when you can catch the ball, it just becomes very, very, very valuable. And as we're seeing in the league right now, the market for wide receivers is huge, so it's probably better for him from a pocketbook standpoint too. But either way, he'd be really great.
When you say Abdul Carter, that you think that Abdul Carter would be the second overall pick, obviously it seems like you've sort of classified this group of quarterbacks the same way everyone else has. We keep hearing that it's a weak draft. They're thin at that position, particularly when you compare it to last year's where Bo Nix is the 6th quarterback taken and turns the Broncos around in an instant. Is there a world where, and what quarterbacks would be available if the Browns do go Abdul Carter and still want to address the quarterback at the 2nd or 3rd round, who is going to be left there? And of those that you think will be available, who should the Browns quarterback in the later rounds if they do decide to go Abdul Carter?
So I can't do free agency here. I guess, look, unfortunately for the Senior Bowl, some people from some schools down in the South maybe rose their stock a little bit too high. I was kind of hoping to see, it's an Ole Miss situation, be able to follow Jackson Dart. I think is a really epic prop, but I don't think he's going to be available later on. So that's an interesting one for me. I really like him a lot. I think he has a lot of upside, but this is a flavor quarterback draft. And what flavor are you looking for? I don't know if I think anyone fully formed day one is going to be epic. I don't think there is a Jaden Daniels in this class. So which flavor are you looking for? I mean, I think Cam Ward's probably the most ready-made. I really like Shedeur Sanders' makeup. I had a chance to talk to him at Honors, and that guy he's a really fun prospect. But every team needs a good O-line. So it will help whatever quarterback gets the best O-line. That's the one I think has the best season.
When you're talking about Shedeur, there's obviously been a lot of talk with Cleveland and Shedeur. You have him ninth to the Saints. You said your model really likes him. You like his accuracy. So why do you think he falls that far, and why not Shedeur to Cleveland at 2?
I mean, you could certainly take, like, as far as what he kind of deserves from how great he is or could be, Shedeur certainly deserves the complete upside kind of treatment. However, and quarterback obviously being such a premium position. However, when I'm looking at the opportunity here for, Shedeur to go to a place where he would make the most sense and to factor in free agency, I think the Browns may be best served, I don't know, looking at a free agent and then building in other places, because the positional variability of, getting, this is a weird draft class. There are not very many good offensive linemen compared to normal, and it's a great defensive front class. So it's kind of about how do you want to strategically build? And when I'm looking at this, I think they have a better chance of building agency and winning this season than they do if they kind of shoot the moon for quarterback and not. Again, it's not to say that Shedeur isn't worth a second overall pick.
Yeah.
It's just how do you maximize for next season?
So who do you like at quarterback? Because you mentioned free agency a couple times. Is there one earmark that you think fits the Browns well?
I mean, I think, look, like there's a lot of ways that you could slice this. This is a team that I'm looking at Nick Chubb's return being really impactful this season. And I think, Sam Darnold, if he hits the market, I think Sam has a lot of upside and a lot of potential to really, he's learned a lot of things in different places, and that could be, I think he'd be a good fit kind of everywhere. Not for forever, but for at least the season.
It's interesting. How do you think a Kevin Stefanski and Sam Darnold hookup would work? I just think that I think that would work. Again, short term, I wouldn't want that to be the long-term answer.
Right.
But I think in the interim, when you're trying to win games and trying to rebuild everywhere else as well, that seems like that could be the easiest off-ramp for that plan.
I think it's the easiest. Sam is one of the nicest guys in the entire league. He gets along with all of his teammates. Justin Jefferson at the Pro Bowl couldn't have said more nice things about him. He's just he's been a lot of different places, has a lot of different experience. He's kind of like that, journeyman who's people just like him. So I think there's a lot of positive with him in that capacity.
Well, the one thing that I think everybody agrees on is that it's not a great quarterback class. You mentioned that you like Dart, but he's not going to be around. There's a scenario where the Browns do trade Myles Garrett to get draft capital, and it's possible they get 26 picks, but it's also possible they could move up into the late first round with a 25th draft pick. If Dart is gone and you're back around at the top of the second round, is there a guy that you think would be a good fit with the Browns that could be a good quarterback in a Kevin Stefanski offense? And I say all that to, I don't want to mention any names because I'm mostly curious to see if you think anybody in there fits that bill.
I mean, I'm getting into, the combine will tell me a lot, because for me, personality type will factor in a ton here, and that's really what the combine's for. We already know all the on-field stuff, but all of the different interviews that go on in the next 2 weeks, that really does matter. So I'll come back to you after the combine, and I'll be less of a mess with this, and I'll give you my full rundown of personalities. But I couldn't think more highly of Kevin Stefanski and his ability to be a teacher and a leader. So I think he deserves someone who is just an epic communicator, and that's the one thing that I will learn over the next week at the combine, who can communicate really well and who can kind of absorb what's being taught to them. So I reserve my red on the guys that are maybe not quite the traits guys. I'll come back to you and I'll let you know everything inside from the combine on that.
Very good. I was kind of throwing bait out there, hoping you would say something about Will Howard, but I get it. I think.
I listen. He's on my list. I don't know. I know about his, on the field stuff, but I haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah.
I don't know his personality well enough yet
Right.
to make that full assessment. And I think Kevin Stefanski just deserves like a really kind, good listener. As fun as Jameis Winston, but also has the potential to just be molded and shaped in the way only the young guys, the rookies, can.
I'm not sure anyone can be as fun as Jameis Winston. That's what I learned about him from
true.
his time here.
That's true.
Hey, listen, Cynthia, thanks for taking time out for us. I know you got a lot
Yes,
going
I'm
on
so
today.
sorry. I apologize.
No,
We're
all good.
sometimes like life calls, man, and but I promise I'll come back after the combine. I'll give you my
Great.
full rundown, and we'll see if Will Howard has the personality that Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns fans deserve.
Sounds
By
great,
the way,
Cynthia.
Chomp is. I had a lot of fun at the Pro Bowl with Chomp. Like he and I we're really close now. So
Very
me and the
good.
mascots,
All right, good to know. Thanks, Cynthia.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much.
Awesome. That was Cynthia Frelund. You can
I-
check her out on Twitter at @CFreeland.
The next time that we have her on, I thought we could go into the draft stuff this time, but the next time we have her on, I really want to talk to her about the value, the position value that she ranks. I don't know what you guys make of that.
I was going to ask
But
her,
there's a lot there. And I love how she said 2 and 3 are interchangeable and 4 or 5 are interchangeable. But I don't think many would disagree that those are the 5.
I would ask her from what Saquon Barkley did this year, because there's some really good running backs in this class.
This
there's
is a
some
really deep class.
I mean, I think that there are going to be 2 first-round running backs taken.
There very well could be.
Genty is worth every penny. I watch him, and this dude.
Were you scared at all about his lack of production in the playoff game?
No.
Because that scared me, I'll be honest.
I mean, he's playing against. He's at Boise State. It ain't Boise State is. I would say the Boise State is a step up from a mid-major. Like
I know, but once he got against that top caliber defense, he looked very ordinary.
Hey, well, listen, I've always said running the football is a numbers game, right? When you play, if he goes to a team that, has some balance, they're not going to be able to put 12 guys in the box to stop
Right,
him,
yeah.
right?
Against Boise State,
Right.
who you have to
know
stop.
what it is. I don't know who you got a receiver. You got to beat me.
No, that's true.
So I want to see if the running back position has kind of evolved a little more, because look, we were at one point trying to diminish the receiver position. About 6 years ago, people say, you can have one receiver, but I'm not going to pay a receiver that much money. And then you started seeing teams draft a receiver and get one in free agency. You start to see teams with 2 really good receivers. And so now it looks like that was more of a wave. But I'm interested to see how many running backs will go and if there are going to be some first round.
Well, when we have her
backs.
on again, we can talk about her value added. She's a mathematician. She's a brilliant
Analytics
woman.
junkie.
And she has these complicated formulas for value added. And I've had conversations with her about that before, but it'd be cool, I think, for our audience to hear exactly how she does that. And it's embraced by a lot of folks in the NFL.